Hi, I'm Helen from Helen B Yoga. I'm a yoga teacher trained to teach yoga to people experiencing trauma and also stress, burnout, and fatigue. Today's class is a trauma-informed yoga class with floor-based poses. As we move through the class, I invite you to sit within each pose, observe how it feels in the body, acknowledge, and let it go. We will begin today in a comfortable seat. If it feels good, you can elevate your hips on a blanket. This allows the spine to be straight. Bring the shoulders up to the ears, then back and down. I invite you to close the eyes if it feels good and start to breathe here. This will be a minimal talking class, so at times my voice will go quiet. You can bring the palms to the chest and then up to the third eye, and we will begin. Bring the legs in a comfortable cross-legged position if they're not already. You can manually rotate the thighs to get a little bit more freedom in the hips. Lengthen the spine and then start to tip forward over the legs, feeling a deep stretch in the outer hip. As we move through this class, know that every move is optional, and if you don't feel like doing it, you don't have to. On an inhale, start to bring the body up to vertical. Notice which leg is crossed closest to you. Rotate the torso to face that knee, and as you exhale, lean forward out of the waist, coming over that leg. This allows a deep stretch in the outer hips. Tune your awareness to how it feels in the body. On an inhale, come back up to vertical. Change the cross of the legs. Lengthen the spine and lean forward again. Sitting deep into the sensation in the hips. Inhale, come back up to vertical. As you exhale, rotate towards the leg that is folded in closest to you and lean out over that knee again. Breathing deep. And on an inhale, return to vertical. Switch the cross of the legs again, and I invite you to join me in some hip circles here, rotating through the pelvis, bringing the body forward, to the side, to the back. Around we go 5 times. Making this as slow and mindful as suits you. And then return and go the other way. 5 times. When you've completed 5 circles, we switch the cross of the legs again and repeat 5 circles in one direction and then 5 in the other. When you've completed your 5 circles, we'll release the legs, bringing the feet to the earth, leaning back on their hands, and rotating the thigh bones in the hip sockets, moving side to side in this windscreen wiping motion. Trying to keep the pelvis still and the movement coming from the leg bones. Then release, and we'll make our way down onto the back. Hold on to the knees and bring the knees into tabletop. Take the weight of the knees in the hands and allow the thigh bones to move away from the hip sockets. So your hands are supporting the weight of your legs. This allows the psoas muscle to deeply relax. The psoas is known as the muscle of the soul. It's where we can hold a lot of tension. Bring the left foot to the floor. Bring the right leg into a figure 4 shape, keeping the foot flexed and the ankle straight. Using the strength of the hip, start to move the right leg as if it is a wing on a bird, 5 times towards the body and away. Noticing the sensation in the outer hip as you move through this movement. And bring the arms to cactus, keeping the legs in that shape. Allow them to fall over to the left side of the mat for a deep twist. You can lift the head off the floor, rotate it mid-air, and look out over the right shoulder. This is a deep twist that brings a lot of sensation towards the hip area. On an inhale, bring the legs back to the midline and move them in towards the chest, still keeping this shape. You can rock your legs backwards and forwards gently. This rocking motion can be very soothing in the body. Release the feet back to the floor. Bring them as wide as the mat and come into constructive rest. Again, this is great for that psoas muscle. And we will repeat that little sequence on the other side. Bringing the left leg into a figure 4 shape, hooking the foot over the top of the right knee. Then using the strength of the hip, move the left leg in that wing shape, backwards and forwards in the hip socket. Then I invite you to bring the arms to cactus, keeping the shape of the lower body, Allow it to fall over to the right side of the mat. The left foot comes flat to the earth for a deep twist. If it feels good in your body, you can look over the left shoulder. And bring the body back to the midline. Keeping the shape again, start to bring the legs towards the body. You can hold here in a static stretch, or if it feels good, gently rock the legs forward and back in this soothing rocking motion. Then gently release. Again, coming into constructive rest with the feet as wide as the mat, knees knocking together, releasing the psoas muscle. We will now bring the soles of the feet together, pushing the heels together, and allowing the knees to flop open for reclined butterfly. If you like, you may extend the arms overhead and bring them into a diamond shape with the fingertips touching. This is mirroring the shape of the legs. A diamond is a wonderful symbol of resilience in nature. Very gently start to come out. You can place the hands on the outside of the thighs, pushing the knees together. And then bring the knees into tabletop and again hold the tops of the knees, bearing the weight of the legs in the hands, allowing the femur bones to descend. When you're ready, we'll start to move into happy baby. You can reach up and grab the outside of the feet or the backs of the thighs, whatever feels good for you, pulling the knees towards the respective armpits, trying to keep the entire length of the spine on the earth, feeling this deep compression in the hip. You may stay with a static happy baby, or if it feels good, you can start to straighten one leg and then the other, alternating between the sides. You can hold on to the backs of the knees for some support in the leg. Just getting into the whole of the back line of the leg, feeling a release. If it is within your reach, you may also do this holding on to the big toes. If you like, you may extend both legs at the same time for an upside down straddle. Then gently release, bring the knees back together, and again, holding on to the tops of the knees, bearing the weight of the legs in the hands, allowing the femur bones to descend, relaxing the psoas. And from here, we'll gently rock up to a seated position, Coming into a forward fold, legs are extended in front, dipping from the hip crease, descending the body over the legs. If you have a blanket, you may like to place it on top of the thighs and surrender the torso into the blanket. Sometimes when we have a prop to release into, it allows the body to surrender a little bit more. And slowly bring the body back up. And we'll move into pigeon pose on the left side. Bending the left knee, right leg is extended behind. Hips are neutral, lengthening out of the waist. And if it feels okay, you may descend forward into sleeping pigeon. I like to tuck my back toes and leverage that right leg back a little bit and then release the foot to the earth. You can stay on the elbows, or if it feels okay, stack the palms and release the forehead to the tops of the hands. On an inhale, slowly move out of the pose. Bring that left leg behind you and descend the body flat to the earth, belly face down. Bringing the left knee out to the side so it's perpendicular with the hip. Right leg remains straight on the floor. Palms are stacked, and if you like, you can place the right cheek on the palms and surrender here. Slowly start to move out of the pose. Push yourself up to the knees and we'll come into pigeon on the right side. Scooting the right foot across the top of the mat. Left leg is extended straight behind, lengthening out of the waist. Hips are neutral. And if you like, you can descend forward into sleeping pigeon, supporting your torso on the elbows, or if it feels okay, maybe stacking the palms and releasing the forehead into the hands. We'll slowly start to come out of the pose, releasing the right leg straight behind, coming down onto the belly, stacking the palms and hitching that right knee up towards the side body so it's perpendicular to the hip. You can place the left ear on the tops of the hands and surrender in this position. Slowly start to come out of the pose. Push yourself up and back into a child's pose. You may take a wide-legged child's pose or a narrow-legged, whatever feels good in your body. Very slowly start to come out. We will make our way onto the back for a bridge pose. If you have a block, you can do supported bridge, choosing the height that feels good for your spine. If you don't have a block, you can do regular bridge. If you're using a block, place it on the sacrum or underneath the sacrum and surrender into it, allowing it to bear your weight. Upper back is wide, shoulders relaxed. Slowly start to come out of bridge. If you're using a prop, move it to the lowest height, place it underneath the sacrum and extend the legs long on the mat. If you don't have a block, your body can be laying directly on the mat. If you like, you can stretch the arms overhead. This is another wonderful way to release the psoas. If it feels good, start to bring the right knee into the chest, circling the hands around the top of the shin. Maybe place the right hand on the knee, the left hand on the left hip, and start to draw smiles with the knee, rocking it, the leg backwards and forwards in the hip socket, side to side in a smile. Release the right leg and repeat on the left side. Bring the left knee into the chest, and maybe placing the left hand on the left knee, right hand on the hip, starting to draw these smiles with the left knee. Then gently release long. If you have a prop, you can move it to one side, and we will come into final relaxation, Shavasana. Allow the feet to flop open, palms to the sky. I invite you to close the eyes if it feels okay for you, and melt into the earth. I will close class here today. Please stay here for as long as it feels good in your body. Thank you for practicing with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.